The PNM's tax deception. Why opposition rhetoric on traffic fines misleads the nation. An editorial by Professor Wall Street. The People's National Movement has once again demonstrated its willingness to sacrifice truth on the altar of political convenience. In response to the government's announcement of revised traffic fines under the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, set to take effect January 1st, 2026, the opposition has embarked on a campaign of deliberate misinformation, characterizing these penalty increases as a tax on the population. This rhetoric is not merely imprecise. It is a calculated distortion designed to inflame public sentiment while obscuring the fundamental purpose and nature of traffic enforcement. The distinction between fines and taxes is not semantic hair-splitting. It represents a critical difference in governance philosophy, legal structure, and civic responsibility. Here are 10 reasons why the PNM's characterization of increased traffic penalties as taxation is profoundly misleading. 1. Fines are voluntary, taxes are mandatory. The most fundamental distinction renders the PNM's rhetoric absurd on its face. Every citizen can avoid paying traffic fines simply by obeying the law. Taxes, by contrast, are compulsory contributions required of all qualifying individuals, regardless of behavior. By conflating the two, the PNM suggests that law-abiding citizens will be forced to pay these increased taxes, a patent falsehood that insults the intelligence of the electorate. 2. Fines are corrective penalties, not revenue instruments. Traffic fines exist primarily as deterrents to dangerous and illegal behavior that endangers lives. They are punitive measures designed to modify conduct, not fiscal tools designed to generate government revenue. While taxes fund general government operations and public services, fines address specific violations of law. The PNM's reframing obscures this crucial distinction, suggesting the government is simply seeking money rather than promoting road safety. 3. The increases reflect 2 decades of inflation. When the current fine structure was established, the economic landscape of Trinidad and Tobago was vastly different. The purchasing power of the dollar has eroded significantly, rendering many traffic fines ineffective as deterrents. A $1,000 fine from 2005 simply does not carry the same weight in 2025. Adjusting these penalties to reflect current economic realities is not taxation. It is maintaining the deterrent efficacy that the law intended. The PNM's failure to acknowledge this inflation reality is either economic illiteracy or deliberate obfuscation. 4. The opposition offers no alternative road safety framework. Perhaps most tellingly, the PNM has criticized the fine increases without offering a single substantive alternative for addressing Trinidad and Tobago's persistent road safety crisis. If not through adequate penalties that deter reckless behavior, how does the opposition propose to reduce our unacceptable rates of road fatalities and injuries? Their silence on alternatives reveals that their tax rhetoric is purely oppositional posturing, devoid of constructive policy thinking. 5. Fines target lawbreakers. Taxes are spread broadly. Income taxes affect all earners. VAT affects all consumers. Property taxes affect all landowners. Traffic fines affect only those who choose to violate traffic laws. The PNM's characterization deliberately erases this crucial targeting mechanism, creating false equivalence between universal civic obligations and penalties for illegal conduct. This is rhetorical sleight of hand designed to manufacture populist outrage. 6. The revision aligns with regional and international standards. traffic fine structures in comparable jurisdictions have long since moved beyond Trinidad and Tobago's outdated penalty framework. By international standards, many of our revised fines remain modest. The PNM's taxation narrative conveniently ignores this comparative context, fostering an insular perspective that prevents meaningful discussion of what constitutes adequate enforcement in a modern road safety regime. 7. The opposition's selective amnesia on their own proposals. During their time in government, PNM administrations repeatedly discussed the need for stronger traffic enforcement mechanisms and penalties. Their current theatrical outrage conveniently forgets their own previous positions on the inadequacy of existing fines. This selective memory demonstrates that their tax rhetoric is politically motivated rather than principled. They oppose measures they themselves once deemed necessary. 8. The framing undermines respect for the rule of law. By characterizing lawful penalties as unjust taxation, the PNM sends a dangerous message that undermines civic compliance with traffic laws. This rhetoric suggests that avoiding legal consequences for illegal driving is somehow a right being stripped away, rather than framing safe, lawful driving as the baseline civic expectation. Such messaging erodes the social compact and normalizes lawbreaking. 9. The tax label obscures the public health dimension. Road traffic incidents are a leading cause of injury and death in Trinidad and Tobago, with enormous public health and economic costs. Effective deterrence through meaningful penalties are public health interventions. By framing this as taxation, the PNM reduces a complex public safety issue to crude fiscal politics, preventing serious engagement with the human costs of inadequate traffic enforcement. 10. The rhetoric reveals the opposition's bankruptcy of ideas. Most fundamentally, the resort to misleading tax rhetoric exposes the PNM's intellectual poverty on governance issues. Rather than engaging substantively with road safety policy, enforcement effectiveness, or the balance between deterrence and proportionality, they reach for the cheapest form of populist demagoguery. This is opposition for opposition's sake. Noise without substance, outrage without alternatives. In conclusion, choose truth over PNM propaganda rhetoric. The revised traffic fine structure represents responsible governance, updating outdated penalties to reflect economic reality while strengthening deterrence against dangerous behavior that costs lives. These are not taxes. They are avoidable consequences of illegal choices. The PNM's decision to mislead the public on this distinction is a calculated bet that citizens will respond to emotional manipulation rather than rational analysis. It is incumbent upon thinking citizens to reject this false framing and demand that our political discourse elevate beyond such transparent distortions. If the opposition wishes to critique the specific penalty amounts, the implementation timeline, or the complementary road safety measures, let them do so honestly. But to characterize voluntary fines for lawbreaking as mandatory taxation is not political disagreement, it is political dishonesty. The people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve better than this cynical manipulation. They deserve an opposition that engages in good faith on matters of public safety, not one that exploits confusion for political advantage. As we approach 2026, let us demand truth over talking points and substance over spin. The choice is clear: safer roads through effective enforcement or continued carnage justified by false populism. The government has chosen the former. The PNM, regrettably, has chosen political theater over the lives of our citizens.